Hi guys, it's Roy from Belados 3D here with another Blender tutorial. And this week's tutorial is in response to a comment that was left by one of my subscribers, Rini Formsma, I hope I pronounced the name right, on one of my other videos, asking how to create the turntable effect that I use in my preview videos. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. Before we start though, a quick shout out to Grant Abbott and 3D Tudor. These guys are the guys that I learned how to do this from. There's some really great 3D modelers on YouTube. Check out their channels. I'll leave a link in the description. So without any further ado, let's get on with the modeling. Okay, the first thing we're going to need is some sort of plinth or platform for the model to rest on. And to create that, I used a cylinder. Now, I'm not going to delete this cube. I'm just going to press H and hide it because I'm going to use it a bit later on. But if I press Shift A, go to Mesh and Cylinder, and create a cylinder. For the purpose of this, that's enough vertices, etc. I'm just going to go into it, select everything with A, and scale on the Z axis by pressing S and Z, and just bring it down. And again, I just put a loop in with Control R like so, and in edge mode select the top and just brought that in slightly, and then selected these two edge loops here and press Control B and beveled it up just a little bit to give it a bit of roundness, to give it a bit of shape, and then back into object mode, shade smooth, and that gives it a nice little object for it to sit upon. If I just go down to the object properties and select normals and auto smooth, that will just sharpen the bottom edge there. And there we have our little plinth for our model to rotate around. But how do we get it to rotate around? It's actually pretty simple. What we're doing is we are rotating this camera around the object using a Bezier circle to create a path for the camera. So the actual object isn't rotating, it's the camera that's rotating. And it's pretty simple to do that. All we need to do is press Shift and A, go to Curve and Circle and create a circle. And that creates a circle, and it's about the same size as our plinth. We need it a lot bigger than that. Let's scale it out to about there. We don't need to worry about applying the rotation and scale on this because it's not actually going to be using any modifiers in itself. Now what we need to do is we need to reset the position of the camera. So we select the camera, press Alt R and Alt G to put it back in the center, facing directly down. And then if we go into top down view, pressing 7 on the numpad, we can then press G and Y and just bring it back. And what we want to do is we want to G, Y, bring it back so it's just on the edge there, just in line with the circle. So now we want to link this camera with this circle. So again, that's pretty simple. All we need to do is select the camera, and then shift select the circle, if I can. There we go. And press Control P. Now we need to parent this camera to the circle. And if you look, you'll see follow path. We select follow path. So now if I press the animation button, watch what happens. The camera goes around the circle. But at the moment, if I put it into camera view, it's looking down at nothing. So we want it to look at the target, at the model. So let's stop this animation and reset the frames and come out of there. So what we need to do is we need to have a target for this camera to look at. And we do that by pressing Shift A and going down to empty and selecting plane axis, and then we just scale that up so that we can see it better. So what we need to do is then click on the camera, go to the constraints tab of the properties panel and click add object constraint, track 2, and now you see this little pipette just here, we click on that and then we click on the empty like so, and you see the camera now looks directly at that empty. So if we go into camera view, you can see the plinth there, and press space and it all rotates nicely. But obviously we want it to look at the model and not the plinth. It's simple as that. The reason that we've got this target here is we can now select the target. If we go into camera view, if I press G and Z, I can then move that target up so that it's in the right position, so that the camera follows it and it's always following it. Likewise, if I want to get in closer, I can select the circle, I can scale in and scale out to zoom in and out. I can move it up and down to tilt on the on the x-axis like so. Okay, so let's put I'll cue back in the scene. Alt H. I'm just going to bring it up, G, Z, and scale it down a little bit. And as you can see, we've now got that targeted in the center. If we go into the camera view and press the play, nothing appears to happen until then. And the reason for that is because we'd reached the end of the number, at the end of the animations. So by default, the path constraint only has 100 frames. Now obviously we've got 250 frames on here, so we want to increase the number of frames that the path constraint has. So if we click on the circle again and go to the object data properties, under path animation, we just increase that to 250. And now if we play it, it does a complete turn in slow motion. And as you can see, with the circle selected, G, Z, I can tilt and pan that, so I can look at it from different angles there. If I select the empty, I can press G and Z and move that about. I can just G and X, and I can actually move that so it's off center, and so on. And there you have it. That's how I created the turntable effect for my preview videos. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it, and if you did, then hit the like button, tell your friends, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you in the next video.